So if you could just please introduce yourselves and the role you play in the band for everyone, tuning in.
Yeah, I'm Shane. I play drums in turn two.
I'm Mason. I play bass in turn two.
And if one of you would love to tell us the origin story of how the band got to, becoming a band.
Yeah, so I play. Well, three out of the four of us played music in like touring bands previously. Um, Mason was in a. I always want to say metal. Is that your categorization of it, metal or prog, or how do
Prog
you?
rock, prog metal, whatever you
Prog
want to call
rock,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Band called In the Presence of Wolves. Our singer Mike was in a pop punk band called Count to Four, and I played drums in a pop punk band called With the Punches. And all three of those bands are pretty active touring bands. Like mine was a little bit earlier in like 2010s to like 2013. And I know Mason and Mike's projects were a few years later than that, but all like, pretty heavy touring bands. And one way or another, all those bands kind of started to, die down, whether it was, I think Mike left Count to Four with the punches kind of just like started slowing down. I don't know how it went with In the Presence of Wolves, but
Pandemic.
yeah,
Pandemic.
pandemic, there you go.
Yeah.
But it got to the point in like 2021 where Matt, who's the other guitar player in our band, he and I have been friends since we were around like 17 years old. And we always liked the same music. We always played music. We just never played in a band together. And, it was 2021, almost 2022. And I was like, I need like a band that's like doing active stuff, again, because With the Punches would play a show once, twice, maybe once every other year or something. But I was like, I need to play music like regularly again. So Matt and I started writing songs, and we found a friend of his who, was like gonna sing and play guitar in it. We wrote a whole EP. We even went to this guy's like house to record everything, and we had all the songs like ready and done. And it was just a matter of our singer at the time to like mix and master everything because he was recording everything himself. And like we waited for months and months and months and nothing ever happened. And we kind of questioned him about like, hey, are these songs, ever gonna get done? And he like kind of flipped out on us and was like, I have a life. You can't. And was like, it ended up being a really not good environment for us to be working with him. And so we stopped that whole thing. We had to get rid of half the songs because they were written by that other guy. And so Matt and I were like extremely discouraged about the project in general, and we almost just gave up on it. And then I like as a last ditch effort put out a Instagram story that was like, "Hey, I've got a project. I need a singer and maybe guitar player. Here's what we want to sound like. If anybody knows of anybody, let me know." And at the time, my sister was dating a guy who out in California who is really good friends with our now singer Mike. And he sent the Instagram story. He took a screenshot, sent it over to Mike, and was like, "Hey, this guy's near you. Like maybe you should reach out to him if you want to play music again." And Mike, he sent me a message along with a demo, which is actually one of the new songs that we're going to have on our new EP that comes out this summer, which is pretty cool. And I heard the demo and I was like, oh my God, yes, get him in the band, please, now, immediately. And so we met up with him a few times, and it just clicked. And then, we wrote some, used some of the songs from the old stuff that Matt and I wrote, and then Mike brought some music in. And we were like about to get into the studio, and we were still looking for a bass player. And Mason, you can tell the rest
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah. Mine will be a lot shorter. I went to a Phillies game and I'm with my dad and I'm looking up at the Jumbotron and it happens to be Mike Hayden, who I've known for, I guess like 14 years now, through music and everything. And he's screaming uncomfortably close to the camera, "Let's go Phillies." And he's, on the big Jumbotron. So I text him. I'm like, "Hey, man, are you at the Phillies game?" And we just kind of start, going back and forth. Hope all's well, yada yada yada. And he says, "By the way, I'm looking for a bass player." And at that point, I'm just like, I'm just writing dumb progressive rock at home, and playing it to my dogs. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Pop punk bass should be fun. So lo and behold, they liked what I did, and I ended up on that first recording, which is pretty cool. And here I am.
Ran into him at a
Yeah.
Phillies game.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Mike works for the so Mike works for the guy the part of the stadium that does the jumbotron and like the games that you see on the big screen. So when he goes to games, they purposely find him in the crowd and they put him up there, which is why he was on there. And Mason saw him. It just happenstance that Mason happened to be at the game too. Otherwise, who knows who would
Yeah.
be playing bass in this band right now?
It
You
was
probably have
meant
a
to
better bass
be.
player. I don't know.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. So and then that's been the lineup ever since.
Mhm.
So, your PR manager actually contacted us about having y'all on, but I had actually already heard and found you guys because you had replied to something that my girlfriend had commented on TikTok being stuck in 2001 to 2008 emo, and you said something like, "Oh yeah, we get being stuck too." So sorry it took us so long. I did mean to reach out.
Oh no, it's all good.
She even mentioned like, "Oh, I'll send the info over and he'll get in contact with you," and I suck at that. But what do you guys find yourself getting stuck on over and over, revisiting, whether it's music or life?
Oh, music. I mean, music has always been a huge part of my life. I mean, ever since I started playing drums when I was like 12 years old. It's an evolution of my music taste, but like I tend to gravitate towards, early 2000s, pop punk, emo, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a reason why we sound like we do. It's because Matt and I, kind of resonate with that era a lot, those early, youth years. I was in high school in the early 2000s. So like yeah, everything from that era, like, Saves the Day, Midtown, Starting Line, all those bands, All Time Low, all that stuff like really resonated with me when I was a kid. I remember getting that Starting Line record, Say It Like You Mean It, and putting it in my car CD player and not literally leaving my car for like a whole year. So like that goes to tell you what really, stuck with me and it has, ever since.
I'm less cool. I'm so much less cool. Before I go into what I will say, I was talking to Shane about this. We were talking about like driving with the windows down. Like, what is like the first record that you put on? Shane, yours is Dookie, right?
Yep, with the
Yeah.
first day that it's nice outside every spring, I always put the windows down in my car and put on Dookie and just let it play
Yeah.
from front to back.
So mine is Blink-182's Enema of the State. That was my first concert. And there's just something about that record. It's just like, I go right back to adolescence and I drop the windows down, drive around. There is one more and it's Say Anything's Is a Real Boy. So I'll add that on there too.
Phenomenal record.
That's where my cool cred stops. I'm a deadhead. So like I try to get like new music, going and stuff. I always end up going back to the Dead, especially over the last few years. It's just like it's like a comfort. It's like a comfort thing. So especially summer for the most part, it's just mostly the Grateful Dead. But I'm also like a huge Iron Maiden fan. I've been like revisiting a lot of like Metallica over the last couple of years because I've seen them live. So I'm like reverting back to like 10-year-old Mason getting, And Justice for All on CD for his birthday and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not as cool as Shane.
Yeah, I can relate though, like with the Green Day Dookie, because that was one of my first CDs I got when I was
Yep.
like in middle school. I
Yeah.
remember that, and
That
I
record.
believe Ja Rule. I got a Ja Rule CD too.
Nice.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's funny. Speaking of Ja Rule, one of the first starting line songs I ever heard was their cover of "I'm Real," which I believe is Ja Rule, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
And
it's him
Ja
and
Rule and J-Lo.
J-Lo.
and J
Yeah.
Lo, yeah, yep,
I didn't know they
yep,
covered that. I need to
yep.
hear
Oh,
that.
Yeah,
that
it's a
was like the
great
first thing I
cover.
ever heard from them, and I was like,
That's
"Who's this
awesome.
band? This is cool." And then I actually realized that they have their own music, and I was like, "This is awesome."
Jess, what's the first album you listened to with your windows down in good weather?
I don't know. Whatever I'm into, really, really into that year or recently. We all know what one of my records
It's
is
going to be
probably going to
some
be.
sort of story of the year. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of course, it's going to be Story of the
And I
Year.
had to think about it. Mine would probably be Discovering the Waterfront. I think I do listen to that
Oh,
album.
Silverstein, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about story of the year. It doesn't matter. I'll listen to story of the year any time of year.
I
Love that.
Story of the Year is wonderful. I've seen them live once, and their live show is just insane. I just remember them tossing guitars like 40 feet across the stage to each other and being like, "How do they even like play music?" It's just like the crazy show. And I always liked there's that one record. Um, I forget what the name of it was. It was one of like their third record, I think, that was just like a super metal album, and I was like, "This is awesome."
Black Swan, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, it was probably Black Swan, yeah.
It's my
And I was
fave.
like, because I had, heard the first couple records, which are really good, and they have that like little metal twinge to them, but like that record though was like, oh my God, they legitimately just put out a metal record, and it's so good.
Yeah, it is one of my favorites. I mean, I just like them all, honestly,
Yeah.
but it's hard for me to pick an actual favorite of Story of the Years, even though people have been like, so if you could categorize from your favorite to your least favorite album, how could you do that? And I'm like, I couldn't.
Yeah, just let me like them all.
I like them all for different reasons.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I had to choose my favorite, it has to be Page Avenue because that was,
Yeah.
my
It's the
my
OG.
gateway
Yeah.
into the Story of the Year universe.
Yeah.
Well, technically Big Blue Monkey when they were Big Blue Monkey is when I heard of them first. So,
Nice.
yeah.
So when I first gave you guys a listen, I believe the first song I heard was Medicine,
Okay.
which a little bit different than the other songs when I re-listened again. Because when I listened to that song again earlier, I got like a mixture of like Scary Kids, Scaring Kids, and the Fully Down.
Okay.
But
Wow, two bands I haven't heard of.
how would you describe your sound?
You know, I think it's influenced by, I mean, Matt and I wrote a lot of those songs on that first EP together, and we tended to gravitate towards the fast stuff. So, I mean, we were always influenced again as like kids, like I listened to a lot of like AFI and, you know, a Wilhelm scream was a big influence on the music that we really like. So we always just tended to write fast stuff. Medicine is actually a Mike song. So we had written, I said, those few songs before Mike was in the band, which we ended up turning into, Darkest Days was one that we wrote beforehand. That Cat's Got Soul, Polaroid, and then Medicine was a Mike brought that song to the table, and so that kind of like melded, the two styles together, if you will, because it was the first time we had really written or tried to like write anything together. So I think it's just like a mixture of everything. Because like again, Matt and I came from that like Bouncing Souls AFI, Wilhelm Scream kind of, background, Bad Religion. And then Mike brought to the table the more like melodic, like emo style stuff, which I think you can heavily hear and like that stuff. So I think one of the bands that's like super heavy influence on us is like Coheed and Cambria. And then, there's Mike's vocals tend to lend towards like a Fall Out Boy vibe too, which early Fall Out Boy is like one of my favorite pop punk. That Take This to Your Grave is like top five for me. But yeah, I mean, like I think it's a real heavy mixture of like that older, like faster punk stuff mixed with that Mike vibe of like catchy emo, rock kind of stuff. So I think it's a mix of everything. I'd like to think, at least.
Yeah. First, I gotta say, Take This to Your Grave is definitely my favorite Fall Out Boy album.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
best.
It's the best one. And rewind, did you say you don't know who the Fully Down is?
No, I was meant to say the bands that I haven't heard of in like a long time.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a
Yeah,
minute, wait
like
a
those
minute.
names
I
like are
mean,
bands that I would like. I know of them. I haven't even heard the names of in a long time. So those are like good because now I want to re-listen to that stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, I
one
mean, I could see people not knowing who they are because they didn't like blow up as much as I thought they were going to and everything.
Yeah,
But
when I re-listened to Medicine earlier today, I'm like, wait a minute, that vocal like signature, I'm like, it reminds me, and it took me like 3 minutes. I'm like, Scary Kids, and I pulled up a song, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's what
well,
it
yeah, and
reminds
you
me
told
of.
me Fully Down when you told me your questions and stuff and you said Fully Down, I had to go listen to that song again and I was like, I could hear it, I could hear it.
Because
Yeah,
the
again.
with the Fully Down being a little, I'll call it like disjointed pop punk. It's like
Yeah, the Foley Downs had some great guitar riffs and
Yeah.
guitar stuff in their
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
songs.
revisit that. I'm actually excited to revisit that because it's stuff I haven't listened to in a long time.
I was pretty good friends with their singer Gab for a long time, and then we lost touch.
Are they from around where you are?
No, they're from Canada.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yep. I think Montreal area,
Okay.
if I'm correct. I
Nice.
don't remember. I feel like Mason's been is out of this question here,
Yeah, I mean, again, like I grew up listening to definitely Blink, Newfound Glory. So playing pop punk and like writing pop punk, I was just like so far removed from it. So
Yeah.
any if I had to like say anything different that I do, I'm a big again, I think I mentioned Iron Maiden. Like Steve Harris is like one of my favorite like metal bass players. So like the only thing I really wanted to do is just like have a reason to put like little lines here and there like he does in this music.
Which I
Yeah.
think is really cool because Mason, like, you could get somebody to play in this band that just like plays root notes and it sounds great, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with having a bass player that plays like the roots and, make sure that like that, backbone is like there. Mason is awesome because he can do that. And then he's like, I'm going to add this cool little weird thing. And like, we'll do some tap thing or whatever. And you're like, oh, that's cool because that's Mason. That's Mason putting his signature, vibe on that bass part.
I still have to reel it back for sure. I remember like the writing for for this EP, I would do something and Mike would be like, "That's really cool." Our producer Matt, he was gonna like, "Matt's not gonna like that, and you're gonna have to reel that back." Like he's just like, put your pop punk hat on." I'm like, "Okay," So,
You're
um,
just adding to the seasoning of the band's like
Yeah,
sound.
that's it. Yeah,
exactly.
just a
And
little
I know Chris is
spice.
Chris is laughing right now.
Because you said seasoning.
I didn't
Was
say
that
emo seasoning.
no, poor Andre.
Poor Andre. Sorry, Andre, if you're listening to this.
We interviewed Shane from Silverstein a while ago now, 2.5-ish years ago. And we asked for questions, and we had somebody ask a question and ended it with a little bit of emo seasoning.
Yeah. And
And
we're
so we
like,
What,
mentioned
all
that,
you
right,
don't have emo seasoning in your cabinet? I keep mine in the kitchen, It's,
but
What
we
what
even
would an
is
emo
emo
seasoning
we
seasoning?
have
consist
to
of?
sprinkle it on Mason every once in a while.
Wonder what an emo seasoning would be
It's
considered.
paprika? I don't
Hmm.
know. I feel like paprika's too
No, it's
happy.
gotta be, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't even know what it would be.
like a depressing sounding.
I know, what are
Yeah.
some sad seasonings?
Yeah,
I feel like
like
seasonings
a
are
like a
good.
black truffle.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I
All
don't
the black
necessarily,
seasonings.
yeah.
Because,
Yeah. How many black pepper, I guess? That's the only other one I can think of.
there's got to be other ones.
I'm
We'll,
sure
There's
there
got to
are.
be.
we'll be thinking of this tomorrow. We'll get
Yeah,
back
right.
to you guys for
We
sure.
messaging you guys, emailing you.
I know
The
they make
saddest seasoning of
purple,
them
they
all.
make, they make purple garlic. That's a darker color, I
Okay.
guess.
That feels emo to me.
Yeah. Get
Chris, are
that
you
at
looking
Hot
at, you should
Topic.
look up dark
No,
seasonings.
I'm
That's the name of my
but
new emo band, Dark
dark seasoning.
Seasonings.
But when we read the question out to Shane, he was like, "Emo seasoning? What the fuck?"
That's hilarious.
It was funny. I laughed a little on the inside. Or did I laugh on the
You
outside?
laughed
I
out
don't
loud.
remember. I laughed out loud. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't remember. That was forever ago now. But I am curious though, like when you find yourself like trying to find inspiration, like have you ever pulled it from like weird or strange places? Like, oh my gosh, I got this text message and now I'm thinking of a song. Or maybe like I was talking to my parents or a close friend and then it just popped in my head just randomly. Like anything random come up like in an odd place.
I I don't think that I can recall any specific time, but I do know that I have gotten certain, inspiration, just like things that pop in your head just from being in a place. Like this is such a weird thing, but like when my old band used to tour a lot, I remember like driving through specific places and like being in a certain place, like on a certain road in a certain town and wherever, whether it's like Oklahoma or Washington State or whatever, and being like, I remember listening to this song when I was in this place last time I was here, and that would inspire me to like listen to that again. And I've had cases like that where like I've been just driving around like at home and I'd be like, "Oh, this place is reminding me of this song," and then I'm like listening to a drum part and going, "Oh, that's really cool. I want to take that back with me," and I'll write like a note or something in my phone to just like try and take it home and mess with it a little bit and see what I can come up with.
Yeah, I could
I
see
think
that. Places give you inspiration for sure.
I was thinking of things I had done on this last EP. There's like on the first one, I've been listening. Like over the last few years, I've been listening to a lot of like older country music too. So in terms of playing guitar, I've gotten into like bluegrass and chicken picking on the electric guitar, which has been super fun. There's like a lick or two on the first record in Darkest Day in that track Darkest Days where I have a break and I'll just pull. I'm like, oh, Brent Mason does this on this track, so I just said screw it, I'm gonna do it on the bass. So I threw it on the bass. So like little things like that from a music perspective. I don't write lyrics. I don't have anything that's like,
Yeah, Mike unfortunately is not
yeah,
here.
Mike
He writes
writes all
all of
the
our
lyrics.
lyrics and all that. I can tell you where some of that inspiration comes from, but like he's the lyric man. So
It's personal to him. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's not
Yeah.
our story,
He
you
doesn't
know.
let you add in a little bit, like, hey,
I
we
mean,
should write a song about
I'll tell
this.
you this, I don't need to add anything because I don't think I'm going to contribute anything of worth.
Hey,
I
that's not
second
fair to
that for sure.
yourself. Come on now.
Seconding that on my end, Shane.
I can
That's my
I can
self-deprecation.
I can help with melodies and I can so sometimes he'll throw melodies at me and I'll be like, "Oh, this could be cool if you did this with it or whatever." But actual lyrics, like lyrical content, that is not my forte.
Yeah, I don't think I could write lyrics either. I mean, I kind of write poetry, but I don't know if it's that poetic.
Yeah, I'd be too weirded out, feel awkward about it. I just can't. Not my thing.
Yeah, I forget, Chris, did you ever write lyrics? No.
Me, lyrics all the time.
All the time you
I
write
was in a I
lyrics?
was in a band in high school. Like I've written poetry pretty consistently, and every once in a while I'll be writing poetry and I'll be like, no, this doesn't work as a poem, and I'll change it into lyrics.
Nice.
You should record it, Chris. I want to hear it.
I don't sing anymore though.
It doesn't mean we have to give it to everyone. I just want to hear it. No, just kidding.
No, do it, Chris. Do it right now in front of
Do it right
everybody.
now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right now, pull up some old lyrics and sing it to us.
Oh gosh, I've my
Pretend you're
Don't
at
do
parents
that.
karaoke.
my
Don't do
parents
that to the poor
found
man.
my parents found an old notebook from high school that had all my old band song lyrics in it, and I read them. And I'm like, holy shit, this was trash.
You should post
Uh,
them.
I feel like that happens a lot just in general with the music that you tried to make in high school. There are very few circumstances where you're bet like, oh, this band in high school was like amazing, which there are some, but like most of the time you're like, oh, I was like a 13-year-old,
I
grasping for attention.
There's video of me in like high school concert band and high school jazz band, and I'll have like a solo. And I can remember at the time being like, "Oh, this is really sick. I'm Jaco Pastorius rocking the bass right now. This is cool." Then like it's 20 years later and you look back and you're like, "This is garbage," and you're thinking like you're hot stuff when you're 15, 16 years
Oh yeah.
old, and then you look back and it's like, "Oh, this is
I
I can't show this
remember
to
I
anybody."
remember playing guitar or no, playing in a like it wasn't even really a band. It was just me and my friend AJ playing music together. And then our friend Lenny who like didn't really know how to play bass like wanted to play with us. And we all went to like a middle school party and this is like legit middle school party and there was like another friend's like actual they had like an actual band playing and they let us play Fat Lip by Sum 41 and
Nice.
everybody at the crowd in the place was like loving it and mind you we're all like 12
Mhm.
and I just thought I was the coolest ever doing that.
That was your
yeah,
gateway.
Great.
Yeah, it probably was.
yeah, we were. I was heavily influenced by like skate punk back in the day, but we try to go like into like a little bit of a hardcore punk style, and um, yeah, no, I didn't know much about hardcore punk back in the day. I like at the time hadn't really heard anything, so I thought I was kind of inventing it, right? Um, but naive 2001 Chris, what can I say?
No, I was right there with you, Chris. So
Yeah.
We all have that for sure.
Well, talking more about your guys' music, uh, you guys did release a debut EP back in November of 2024, I believe it was.
yep,
Uh, and then you just released a new single, Sideways, which was last week already.
yep.
Killer track, by the way.
Thank you.
That being
Thank you.
said, I am curious, why was there such like a large gap between that EP and then you releasing a new single?
So I mean, we just essentially started being a full band like right before that first EP. And then, we recorded that EP, put it out in November, and then we tried to play a bunch of shows, right? We played shows in, January all the way through like August, September, just because we were just trying to get our, legs underneath us. We hadn't really played a lot together live, so we tried to hone a lot of that time last year and like getting the live show to be pretty good. And then in that process, we also were writing new songs. And then, it actually came around to um like we had booked studio time for August last year. And Mike, our singer, was getting married in August last year, and he was having a hard time trying to concentrate on uh, getting wedding stuff done and then also writing lyrics to the songs that we had. So he got time to like late July. His wedding was in mid-August up in Maine too, so it was like a destination wedding too. And so I just ended up being like, dude, let's just push the recording back. Like, I don't want you to be stressed out. It's your wedding, dude. Like, there's no reason to be like going crazy because you need to write lyrics for songs because we're going to be in the studio in a, 4 weeks. So we ended up pushing it back from August to November. So we ended up, taking a little extra time to hone everything in, make sure it was all good, and then recorded the new EP at the end of November last year. And then, just with the holidays and stuff, the recording process was much longer than, it's always much longer than you expect. I'm always like, yeah, we'll get the songs in like a month and we'll have everything completed. And like that always turns into like, regardless, like 2 months, 3 months, however long it takes to get, the right mixes, the right masters back. And so in that time, we were kind of just trying to like, again, get everything together, make sure that we, had our, live show honed in so that once music started coming out, we could, you know, just get out there and play as often as possible. So it took a little bit. It definitely took longer than we wanted it to take, but I think everything kind of was for the better. Just because, I mean, it's one thing when like you're on a label and they're like, you need to put out this record at this time and it's got to be blah blah blah. But there's nobody, like breathing down our necks saying you got to release this at this time. And so we're not going to push ourselves to do it if we don't have to, and make ourselves more stressed out than we need to be because, Mason and I both have a kid, we're a little older now. Like there's no need to be like crazy about it, but we wanted it to come out. It's just, sometimes life happens.
Yeah. Now, speaking more about this new EP, you guys are going to be releasing it this summer. Have you guys decided on a release date yet? And, you know, tell us and the listeners a little more about this new EP.
Yeah, so I think we are looking at like an August release for the EP. With that being said, we're going to be putting out a bunch more singles too. So you're not going to have to wait all the way to August to get a bunch of new stuff. We're going to try and like trickle it out. But the new EP is, I'm so proud of it. I think, I've written a lot of, I've been on a lot of EPs and, LPs with the old band and now Turn Two. And I'm like extremely proud of what we put together on this EP. It's one more song than the last one, so it's seven total. But I think listening to all the songs together, I think you can tell that like we really are trying not to be like we don't want to be like pigeonholed and being like, hey, this band writes all the fast songs and they're like, the story so far or whatever. Because like if you listen to each song, it brings a completely different vibe, right? And I love that because you can tell that, but it also you know it's turn two also, right? Like we're not giving up our identity by making, six songs that are very different from each other. We're bringing the turn two vibe to a bunch of different songs, which I really, love, and I'm extremely excited to continue to release these new tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean like it's funny during the pandemic I'd actually uh talked to Mike about some stuff that he was writing and he shot me over like demos well before turn two, well before I knew Shane and Matt. And he was just like, "Hey, can you like program drums on these?" And one was Nice Thing. Was the other one Medicine, Shane?
I think so.
Yeah. Uh, it was just like, it was so cool to like to fast forward a few years later from him sending me the demos that I was like programming drums on to now hear them, fully fleshed out with vocals on them and then ready and raring to record, which is fantastic. I'm really excited for this one personally because the first one was very much like, hey, we need a bass player. We're going into the studio in like a month or two. Do you mind? It was very much like kind of I don't want to call it a rush job, but it was like learn these tracks real quick and then try to get in there as quick as possible. Where this now, it's like it's filling the void that I lost from my prior group, which we were in the studio and stuff, and the pandemic kind of just, killed everything like it did for a lot of folks. I feel very lucky to be, back in it with not only just like an EP for people to hear, but like something that I enjoy listening to on my own as I don't know if that's like I hear like the Aziz Ansari bit about like Kanye West like listening to his own music, right? I hear that in my head as I'm doing this, but like I genuinely enjoy listening to the tracks that we recorded. Like if it wasn't, me on the bass and my friends, on the tracks, I would still find myself listening to those. So it's very exciting to be a part of for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah. I don't think you're alone though. I feel like there are a lot of musicians that listen to their own stuff.
It just if
I
you
I've always felt weird about it, but
yeah.
this EP I have been listening to a lot. I will say that. So I definitely have always been kind of weird about listening to my own music. It just makes me feel awkward and like I don't
Dude,
know.
it feels like you're sniffing your own
Yeah.
farts. Like that's kind of what it feels like when you're like, yeah, this is fucking sick. Oh, pardon my French. I don't know if I can cuss here, but I like that's what it feels like, but really
Yeah.
like um the tracks are really awesome. I'm biased a bit there, but
Yeah.
yeah, I find myself listening to them more than I thought I would.
That's what it feels like when we try and promote the podcast at times,
Right.
doesn't it? Like, but I can't watch it back. I've watched a handful of our episodes back, not that
I
many.
I don't watch any of our episodes after I post them.
No?
No. I mean, I see enough of them when I make teaser reels. So,
Well, that's like I think that's also like totally different than a song too, because like a song you like listen to and like it's done in 3 minutes. It's like if you listen to your podcast back, it's like you're listening for like an hour, to
it's
each
true.
episode.
I also feel like it'd be a little more different if I was the one singing and I was the singer in the band. To me, feel like hearing myself sing would bother me more than
Yeah,
like,
I feel like that would bother me more also. I'm glad I play drums and don't sing.
Oh,
see, there you go. It's
that's
just the drums. Just think of them as someone playing and it's not you. It's a different drummer.
Yeah, right.
I hate the sound of my voice. So like I
I
can
feel
I
like
can't
everybody
imagine
does
it.
though.
What's that?
I feel like everybody does though.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard myself like in voice memos and things like that where I'm just like who takes me seriously, you know? So like for me to like ever go back and listen to like a podcast that I've done, I don't know that I'd be like comfortable. I don't know that I'd make it full through like a whole episode just knowing that my shrill voice is on there, you know?
No, what got me used to hearing my own voice is I worked in a call center for a long time, and they
Oh,
would like
okay.
have you do like your own, like you'd have to listen to your own call and how you handled it. I got used to hearing my own voice,
Yeah.
but doing it on a video format and when I have to go back and actually physically, because normally we leave things pretty raw
Yeah.
Mm.
in the video version of the podcast, but when I actually have to go back and like listen and splice, I'm like, ooh, this is rough.
Oh,
Yeah,
not
it's weird.
It's
Um,
like everything. It's the voice with the facial mannerisms and like everything at once, and you're like, oh, that's what my face looked like at that moment.
It's true.
Yep.
It's true.
I'm not going to do this justice, but Shane knows exactly what I'm talking about. My buddy Mike, well, my buddy Mike, the singer Mike Hayden, he happens to catch me in a very like exciting conversation to me. And it could be about records, it could be about the Grateful Dead, and I get very passionate about it. And he'll record my voice like talking about this. Not, I don't know that he's recording this, and it's just him staring at the phone like with dead eyes with my voice in the background, and he'll send that to the band and be like, Mason's at it
I've
again,
I've had a very, very good laugh more than once about
Yeah.
that. There we just
Makes me
played a
hate
show
myself.
in February and Mason was bonding hard with the guy doing tickets at the front who was like a rocker from like the 1980s. And they were talking about like Queensryche or something. And I was just I wish we had gotten that one on recording, but it was yeah, I've had a nice laugh about that a couple of times.
Yeah. They say too, like, your voice changes. Like, I have a voice, like, when I answer the phone, I totally sound like a different person
Oh yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know why that
Totally.
is. Is there a reason for that?
It's like like I feel like some of it it's like it's almost like I don't want to call it corporate voice, but like it's almost like you're speaking to somebody that you don't know that you're trying to make like an impression on, but you subconsciously do that. You're not doing it like actively. Um yeah,
It's
I
your
think that's
customer
kind of
service
like
voice.
yeah,
It's my
exactly.
customer service
That's a
voice, yes,
better
from
term
all
for
my
it.
years of working at Kmart answering the phone. And
Yeah.
then you regret being nice answering the phone because the person on the
People are
phone
just
is giving you a hard time. You're
terrible.
like,
Yeah.
oh, why was I so nice sounding in the
Yeah.
beginning?
Yeah.
I don't know when I called you after we finished recording it a couple nights ago and you did your sultry hello. I'm like, what are you doing?
Hey, I was told I have a sultry radio voice, so I gotta work that, right, Chris?
Yeah, right.
To circle back, not to sultry voices here, but with the new EP, right? Are there any new musical elements that you're trying to introduce? Any kind of progression that there was an effort yeah, uh, wait, an effort conscious made to go in that direction?
Yeah, absolutely. So while Sideways is kind of like a it's like a sideways to me. I mean, and how Mike and I have talked about it, it's almost like a hey, look at us, we're back, kind of song, and it like plays to the a lot of the same instrumental things that we did on the first record, Darkest Days. But you will see, like, as more songs come out, that there is a much bigger usage of like things like synth. We have a lot of like synth stuff, whether it's background synth or like nothing like crazy. We're not like, Motion City Soundtrack now or anything, but like we definitely have a lot of that stuff, of those elements, a little bit of more like ambient, things going on in the background during like more melodic parts and parts where like, it gets a little bit, lower in volume and stuff like that. And you'll hear it. Like it's one like very, audibly, there. And we did that on purpose because, like like I said, this is like a record that we finally got to like really like write together, whereas like the first one was kind of like piecing songs together that both sides of the coin had, where this is like us actually writing together. And like we kind of like tried to hone in a little bit more on like our influences as like a unit rather than like individually. And Mike is an excellent songwriter. He can write a hook like nobody. And we wanted to take advantage of like the catchiness and like those kind of like the pop elements of pop punk, right? And whilst we're not like a pop rock band, like you can hear a lot of that in like the choruses and stuff like that. And there's a reason why there are like ambient like synth parts coming in and like the bridges and then whatever. You can definitely hear it, and it was a conscious effort to kind of move in that direction. It just felt like a progression for our band without straying too far away from what what we're known to sound like so far.
Yeah, you
I
said Motion City Soundtrack, and I was like, yeah, who doesn't love a good Moog
I
stand?
mean, I love Motion City Soundtrack, but yeah, we're not there yet.
Wouldn't that be nice? I get to do some different things on the bass, which is pretty cool. I get like a little tapping part that I came up with. I get a little a slap part that Mike wanted. So I'm not just like rocking root notes on the bass. There's actually some nice textures I get to put in with the bass, which is pretty cool. We did have to coerce Shane though. I'm calling this the plus 44 beat. You know what I'm talking about, Shane? Where we had to kind of be like, no, 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 you have to play it
Yeah.
this way.
Yep.
We had to put those pop sensibilities into Shane for at least one song. Um, so that one's. I mean, I'm excited for all the songs, but that song at the very least is one of my favorites.
Yeah, they're all, yeah. I mean, I'm genuinely excited to have everybody hear these new songs.
Yeah.
I'm getting excited to hear the new songs.
Well, we can send them to you guys. We just can't send them to
Ooh,
the world yet. So,
Chris, look at that. An
I'm
exclusive.
I'm curious just because we're talking about musical elements and like the different things that you're doing on bass. Any just because this is one of my favorite things on a guitar, any chance even with a bass we can maybe eventually hear some pinch harmonics on a bass in a song?
you,
So
don't you do
uh,
them on the beginning of
so
yeah.
they're not necessarily pinch harmonics, but it's kind of the same thing. So the tap that I'm doing. Um, I'm basically I'm tapping the the octave where like instead of playing the octave, I'm actually tapping that. So if you think of like your open string, if you just lay your finger on the 12th fret, you get that harmonic off of it, the natural harmonic versus the pinch harmonic. I'm tapping my part and to get the octave up here. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. I'm gonna try to show you real quick. So
It's
like
okay. I have no idea what you're talking about.
it's okay. All right. So if I'm tapping here, you guys probably won't be able to hear it, but if you play the open strings, you get your natural harmonic. If you move the nut to like say here, I could tap here and the same thing's gonna happen. So I get to tap it and I play like a little riff with the tap. So it's not necessarily a pinch harmonic, but it's it's sort of the same thing. I'm probably not describing it in the best way, but that's sort of what I do. I everybody left the call. Everybody left the
Yep, we
call.
left. We
They're
left.
gone.
I
I
tried
get
playing
it.
guitar when I was younger and I failed miserably, so I have no idea what you're talking about
It's
All
all
right,
anymore.
good.
I've played in a band for 20 years and I still look at a guitar like it's the most awkward thing I've ever like I can't even hold one without looking awkward.
I can play Guitar Hero. That's about it.
I can't even do that.
Okay.
You
So
can,
fun.
you can. Can you play Guitar Hero drums though?
No.
The
They're they're
the
They
bringing it
are
video
back.
hard. I
the
can't
video
play
of
them
Rush
either.
failing while they're playing their own song on Guitar Hero, that lives in my head rent free.
I'm just not coordinated enough to be a musician, so my brain, I could do that, but my brain just can't fathom like doing something with my hands and then I don't know. When I play Guitar Hero drums, it's like I can't hit the kick and do this at the same time. I keep doing the kick and that at the same exact time.
Hmm.
I can't do I first of all I can't play guitar, but the very little that I can, I can't imagine doing that and trying to sing at the same time. I always get baffled by like Mike and people who like sing and play guitar at the same time. I'm like, how do you concentrate on doing those two things at the same time? I can't.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know.
So I'm curious, because we kind of talked about um the toward the beginning the TikTok comment and everything. Like a lot of bands I know now, like starting off grassroots level, have a hard time getting up off the ground. How's your experience been using social media and other techniques to kind of get the band out into the ether?
I have been doing everything that I possibly can on socials. It's hard. It is so different than what ha like when With the Punches started getting off the ground back in like we started that band in 2009 and really started kind of taking off in 2010. And that was because we literally opened every like genre adjacent show that came through the area at the same venue, and we just gained a following at that venue. And then I would, we'd print a thousand CDs, and I would go like to stores, and I'd go to any other concerts that were happening, and I just started like hawking CDs to people. It was like kind of like a that's what you did, just like gave, sold CDs for $2 here, and like come see my band play at like the Chance Theater, all the stuff like. And so I that's what it was back then. Now it's like if you don't have a social media presence, then you're screwed, right? Like I don't think Spotify even existed back when we, were putting out records with the punches. So like there's just so much more to do, and you need to do now, that like I remember, starting the Instagram page, and then like, putting random stuff on it. And once we started putting music out, we got a little bit more of a following, which is cool. And then I was like, I've never used TikTok in my life. Like I was like, I'd never use this ever. And I was like, but I probably should, right? Because like that's a thing now. And it's like how another, avenue to get your music out there. So I like started a TikTok when we first started the band, and I really just like did very little with it. And then in like August of this past year, I was like, we have like 75 TikTok followers. Like, we need to just like start doing something, I think, on there. So I just started making like weird, silly videos. Like, I have a 1.5-year-old, and I started doing like videos on there of like myself playing clearly like a child's instrument, but to like a pop punk song. So like I did drums to like Chicago So 2 years ago, and I did like her little piano. I was playing like I woke up in a car with something corporate on it, and I just filmed myself doing stuff like that. That's just like quirky stuff that people can like relate to. And then, I really just like, I know how, and it's probably so annoying for people, but like I would literally just go on TikTok, and I would find people that were posting about things that were relevant to like the genre of music, and I would say something in a comment that was like actually like talking to the video, right? I wasn't just being like, listen to my band. Like it was like responding in a conscious way to the post, so that it didn't feel like I was just soliciting myself to them. So I'd be like, hey, like I saw that you went to see Hot Mulligan, right? And wherever. And I was like, that looks so awesome. I wish I could have been there, whatever, like, Equip Sunglasses is like one of my favorite songs. And then I'd put something like, hey, if you really like this genre of music, maybe check us out. And I would just do that. And people started responding to me like pretty decently. And so I would try to spark up conversations with them in those messages back. Because I didn't want to just be that person that's like, hey, yeah, I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that they're posting about this stuff, and I want them to come talk, like they to come follow us or listen to our music. But I also wanted to like build a relationship with people, right? Because I think that's what music is about. It's not just like, hey, I want you to listen to my music so that I get more streams on my Spotify, or something like that. It's more about like, hey, I hope you like our music. I hope it resonates with you, and I want to talk to you about it if it does, because it's not it's a community. It's not just a hey, you're listening to music type thing. So I really try. I mean, it's harder. The more people that start following you, the more, interactions that happen, it's harder to like get that personal. But like at the beginning, I was literally having full on conversations with people on TikTok because I wanted to talk to them about the music, right? I wanted to build a relationship. And I've legitimately built several relationships of people that are now like actively helping us promote music because they really like our music, and we had a genuine connection in the conversations that we had through things like social media.
Yeah, social media is a tough one.
Yeah, it's not easy.
How many followers are you up to on TikTok?
We just crossed the 2,000 threshold
Ah,
recently.
so much better than us, Chris. We're
What's our
not good.
TikTok? What's
We're
our
just not
TikTok
It's
good.
numbers at
not
now?
easy. It's not easy. I mean that how many, so it's not even just that. It's like sitting on TikTok lives and like talking to people that are on like I used to like sit at home after I like ate dinner and like just sit on my couch and just scroll through TikTok lives and start commenting on people's stuff and
Yeah,
talking to people. And that's a lot, that takes a lot of time. It's
it
not
does.
like it's a time consuming thing. And if you want to do it the right way, I think.
Right.
Like again, I'm I can buy a bot that will spam you enough to like, stream my music. I just it
It's
there's no
disingenuous doing it
connection.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no connection. Like you're not building long-term fans by doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm, our followings have grown slowly, but I think it's the right kind of growth, right? It's not like,
I
oh, we
get
have
it.
10,000, TikTok like followers now, and half of them are like fake or, that kind of stuff, or don't really care.
Right. That's definitely a problem. Fake accounts. Because you kind of watch that sometimes. You see, like, oh, I had this many followers yesterday and now I'm down. Because,
Yeah.
it had to have been like a fake account that
Yes,
followed you or
100%.
something.
I see it constantly. Yep.
But I try not to look at the follows, but it's all about us trying to get the music out there. And we want to have more followers just so we can reach as many people as possible. But it's all helpful when people like repost or
Of
share
course.
stories and all that. That's another way of reaching it. I
That's
may
the
not
other
get
thing too.
followers from it, which I'm fine with, but at least it's getting promoted out there and people are hearing about new music they may not know about.
Absolutely. I think you're doing God's work. And I do think that that's another aspect of it too. It's like you're not only looking for people that want to listen to your music and that you can connect with, but you're also looking for bands to connect with too. Like that's another thing that's like a thing I've been trying to do a lot is like, we've made some relationships with bands, through playing shows and through, commenting. I just comment on, bands I like on social media that, you follow all the locals, you make friends with everybody so that you can um can play gigs with them and combine forces, if you will. But I think one of the best things to do is, lifting other bands up on, whether that's social media, whether that's at shows and stuff, because you're not going to get anywhere by doing everything yourself. And the only way to kind of help yourselves also is to help others. And, I think, helping promote, reposting other bands, new music that's coming out, commenting on everything, liking all the videos, it seems like such a minuscule thing to do, but it goes a long way in, kind of helping cultivate a community of bands that are all, in this together.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned local bands, like getting in touch with them and like, building relationships with them. Now, the pop punk scene has been pretty great in Jersey over the years, I believe, right?
It's been one of the best.
It's been one of the best. Do you feel it's doing better now than it was like 10, 15 years ago?
I would say it's pretty equal. I mean, you're
It's
comparing
different.
some, yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it, Mason. It's definitely different because to me, like when I grew up, like you're talking about like legendary pop punk bands that came out of this scene. Like you're talking Saves the Day, uh, the early November, Senses Fail, Armor for Sleep, My Chemical Romance. Like all of those bands came from New Jersey. Like, and that was like around the same time. So like to compare it to that time, to me, it almost feels like David and
Apples and
Goliath,
oranges.
Yeah, like I don't know how you can redo that whole thing and like but it's no less supportive and there's no less, amount of quality bands that are out there now. Like we've made friends with a bunch and there's a bunch of really awesome bands that are, you know, in the New Jersey, greater Philly, scene that are all like wonderful people and, making great music too.
Yeah.
The social media is definitely added to that for sure. Where before it was like, in the ways that you supported it was like buying their CD or buying a t-shirt and wearing that shirt while you're playing or just out and about, right? Obviously that's still happening in some way, but the social media certainly added another layer to it where, like Shane said, I mean, we're all each other's cheerleaders, right? If somebody's releasing new music, if somebody's got a new music video, if somebody has a show coming up, you know, um, putting it out there through social media. I think it's just another layer on top of the support.
Why do you think so many great bands come out of Jersey? Is it the like the angst from not being able to pump your own gas or
Probably. Actually, not pumping your own gas in the wintertime is a highly underrated thing. Um, but I don't honestly, I don't know. I think, yeah, I mean, to me, the beginnings were like, so my like experience when I was young, like seeing Saves the Day is in particular, like when I was young, it kind of almost felt like it's because Saves the Day was so influential in the scene and they were from there that like it almost like I mentioned this to somebody else before that it created like a pop punk like emo like lineage tree, where like all these kids would go see Saves the Day that lived in New Jersey and were like, "Oh my God, this band is amazing," before they became huge. And now it like made them want to start bands. And then they started like the Early November and like, Armor for Sleep. And then people would go see those bands. I remember like being like in high school and like every like pop punk or emo show that was big that would come through the bigger venues near us. It was like Armor for Sleep open for them or Senses Fail open for them, which were like two local bands that were just always on as openers for those shows until they both exploded on the scene themselves. So like I think it almost feels like, it started as a small thing and then started just like, branching out from people just going to see those shows, realizing that they were local and that they could do the same thing and then getting inspired by that and then just kind of like blowing up from there. I mean, that's just kind of how I think about it. I'm not sure if
So
it's the water or the pizza that influences, the pop punk here maybe more.
I was just thinking about it too. Is it like, because if you think of New Jersey, like we don't necessarily have like a large metropolitan area, right? So we've got Philadelphia that's outside of New Jersey, we've got New York that's outside of New Jersey. And usually when people think of New Jersey, it's like not obviously not one of those two, but they're so closely associated with us. So we don't necessarily have an identity from that perspective. The identity that usually people give us is based on The Sopranos, right? So
Or the Jersey Shore.
or the Jersey Shore. So do you think that pop punk is like uh or any music like of that genre is an antithesis to like what is it like an active antithesis to who we are? I don't know.
I think it could be. I also think it just takes influence from both major cities that are equidistant from where we are too, right?
Yeah,
Like you talk about like New York hardcore, right? Or like any of the stuff that came out of Philadelphia too. I think it's kind of like a
Hall
melting
Notes.
pot. Yeah.
I was just thinking of that. I was like, what came out of Philly? Hall Notes. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Honestly, I don't even hear a Jersey accent from you guys.
Well, I appreciate that because I don't think any I don't know. People say that I don't ever hear it and I don't hear it in anybody around. It's like I feel like it's more of a New York accent than anything. Because that's what in the summertime, all our beaches, like I live 15 minutes from the beach, all the beaches are filled with people from New York. It's not even people that live here. Like half of the time when I lived like right on the ocean, I would leave in the summertime because it was just inundated with people from New York. And that's what you see. Like obviously you know of Jersey Shore, but like that's what happens. They all just like come down and invade in the summer and then they leave when it's cold. But I feel like a lot of that accent is like heavily influenced by the New York accent. Because I mean, my wife and I have friends that are like family is all from like Staten Island and stuff, and those people that's like Sopranos essentially
Yeah.
accent.
Maybe the Jersey comes out when you're angry.
I get really angry, but it could.
Now, do you guys have some favorite, pop punk bands from the Jersey area? I know you named a few things, but who are your favorites from
Like
that area?
like all time or like there are bands that are like active like playing right now that were
Let's make it a mixture. Let's
okay.
mix it up. A little of both.
Saves the Day is always been a huge one for me. Bouncing Souls is always a huge one for me too. Um, and I've seen a lot of bands and like cool like bands that blew up and like I saw Thursday in a basement in New Brunswick. Um, I mean, Thursday's always been an awesome band. Um, so from New Jersey, I think, Bouncing Souls and Saves the Day are like huge for me. And then like bands that are like, right now, there's a few bands that are like starting to like come up, and we become friends with that are from the Jersey area. Um, we Cheer Up Dusty is one we've played with a couple times. They're from like Philly, um, South Jersey area. Another one called my cousin's girlfriend's house. They're from that area too. Um, those are two really rad bands. Yeah, I mean, those are, I would say, the couple that I'm like, they're local that I like really gravitate towards lately. Home Base is another one. They're a relatively new band from Jersey, but they're super rad. They just put out an EP last week. It's really, really good. Younger dudes too, doing really cool things. So yeah.
I was gonna add Sucker Punch to that too.
Oh yeah, Sucker Punch too.
That last show that we played with them, I thought they crushed it, you
Yeah,
know.
Sucker Punch is a really
Yeah,
good band too.
that was like that made me that like, we played with them before, but that when we saw them at the T Next show and I saw them live, it was like, oh, they're here to play. It
Yeah,
was really cool, and they're awesome dudes for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Jersey bands that I mean, I'm a huge Dillinger Escape Plan fan, and they're out of the Morris Plains area, you know. So I got to throw them in there. I guess my Chem, I like Three
I
Cheers,
mean, yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Um, yeah, I mean those are like the I know it's so lame. Those are like the two that come to mind. I'm gonna be like going to bed tonight, and I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna be like, oh, they're from New Jersey. Actually, I like Titus Andronicus. I don't know if you guys ever ran into them.
Mm-mm.
They're like they're I don't know if you want to call them like post-punk or anything like that. They have a Civil War concept record, which is probably why I'm really into them. But they're also from New Jersey. They're pretty awesome for sure.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys could make and assemble your own dream tour of bands you're going out with, hitting the road, let's say 5 bands you're going to take along with you, who are you going on tour with?
Oh man. Um, I definitely think Coheed and Cambria is definitely one. Um, I would say Jimmy Eat World, which is another, collective favorite band. Um, I'd say Blink just because of how influential, from back in the day. And I guess still listening, Mason said it before, he still listens to Blink, Enema on the first good day of the year. Fall Out Boy, I mean, I'm naming all these older bands that I'm like, obviously you can tell that like we're stuck in like the early 2000s, but like newer bands like too, I'd probably like leave that last spot open for like, Neck Deep. I um I love that band. My old band played with them in England, back in the day, back in the early 2010s, and my sister is actually engaged to Matt, their guitar player. But so we ended up getting tickets to go see them in Philly this past fall. We were standing side stage when they were on tour with The Story So Far, and they were so good. They're just like they crush it live. They have so much fun, and they bring out a good crowd. So I'd add Neck Deep to that grouping of nostalgia bands and then Neck Deep.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it.
At
Mason, who
all.
would you pick? If
Dude, my mine would be so lame. I don't know. I was thinking about that. I don't know that I'd go like the pop punk route. I'd like just thinking of like bands that I'd legitimately want to be on the road with. Thrice is definitely one. I love Thrice. Um, just to get to play with them would be just to get to play with them and watch them do their thing every
Oh my
single
God,
night
that would be
would
so
be
much fun
yeah, it would be
just to
unbelievable.
watch them play. Yeah.
I'm throwing out another band on there, and they're not going to match this at all. They just came out with a new record, and I pop it on like every couple of days. Converge. We do not sound like Converge at all.
No, but I
My
get
list
it.
is going to be vastly different. But Converge's latest record is phenomenal. Um, Screw it, Neurosis. They just came out with a
Well, we're
record.
just going on a metal tour.
We're just going on a metal tour. That's the thing. Yeah. I have to be the antithesis now. So what do I have? Thrice, Converge, Neurosis. I'll throw Dillinger on there. Why not? Let's play with the Dillinger Escape Plan. And one more, Nails. I'll throw Nails on there. Does anyone know Nails?
Nope.
No,
No.
they're a super, super, super hardcore band. If you're really angry or if you just like need, energy at the gym, put on Nails. So it's going to be turn two playing with all these really,
Playing
really
on
heavy metal bands.
yeah.
I thought with like Thrice, I could be like, all right, let me try to off the top of my head. It wasn't happening. Sorry, guys.
You went the heavy route. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine. It's a almost an eclectic. You guys just bring the eclecticness to the tour.
that's it.
I
That's
mean,
it.
I would go on that tour just to get, out there and exposure to new people. Why
It's
not?
true. It's true. Exposure is exposure. So I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. 100%.
even if like a bunch of people are like, "Who the hell is this band?" There might be someone that's like, "Oh my God, I really love this band," you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's how you have to treat a lot of the shows like too, because like, I mean, we're new, I mean, we're not not beating around the bush. We don't have like a huge following, at this point. And sometimes you play gigs and there's not a lot of people there, but like if you can convert a couple of them, then every gig is worth it.
So true. So true. Now, have you guys had any crazy things happen while you've been performing or even just traveling on tour or to random shows?
Shane, I'm
What
thinking of Wonder Bar.
what happened to Wonder Bar? Oh God, yeah. Oh God. I can't believe I didn't even think of that. Yeah. If you want to explain this, because you probably explain it better than me. But
So, um, we go into medicine, which I mean, arguably it's
we
our most.
we're playing at the Wonder Bar in Asbury Park, which is a decent sized venue, and we're opening for Keep Flying, which is like a pop punk band that I'm good friends with. And they were gracious enough to let us be an opener on their tour that date of the tour. So yeah, so we're playing,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
so we're playing medicine, and for anybody that knows us there, if they know us, that's probably arguably our most popular song. So it's like, all right, they're gonna probably crush this one. Um, we start playing it, and something just sounds off. I'm running to my bass amp to see what's going on. Mike is singing, and he's like, we just can't
he
figure
like
out
doesn't know
something.
what to do. He's like, you
Yeah,
can see
like
if you see somebody like actively like panicking on stage while trying to perform, that's like the epitome of what Mike looked like.
Yeah, yeah, and we're not stopping. We should have probably stopped, but we didn't. So we played the entirety of Medicine, not sure what was wrong. It turned out Matt, our guitar player, was playing. I forget whether he was playing with the wrong guitar
He
or
was.
he was playing with the wrong guitar, and that guitar was in a different tuning. So whatever Matt was playing didn't match up with what all of us were playing. So it sounded like a cacophony because Mike is out of tune. I'm still playing in tune, and Matt is clearly playing like the wrong guitar. So I mean, when you were up on stage, you're just in a panic. I can't even imagine like what the crowd was
Yeah, like
thinking
I
back
want to
then.
see that from the perspective of
Yeah,
somebody else because it was like I mean, I just hit stuff, so I don't have to be in
yeah,
tune with anything. So I just like sitting there
dude.
playing something, and you could see everybody being like, "What's going on?" Mike like turns around at me, is like plays like, "I don't know what's happening." And then it wasn't even until like multiple like minutes after the whole show was over, after we'd gotten off stage, that Matt was like came to the realization that was like, "Oh my God, I played everything in the wrong tuning." And it just like
Well, at
it
least it wasn't everything. It was just that one song.
yeah
Yeah, but
it
that
was
was bad.
yeah it's weird to like explain it because like it's hard to imagine until you hear it and you're like, oh, I get why this sounded so bad.
I mean, the if I can compare it to music theory majors, the song was in E major and Matt was playing in F major. So you have these two clashing notes on top of each other, and that is 3 minutes of hell to your ears. That's what was happening.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
not. Yeah, he
not
was
fun.
Matt was like mortified
Yeah, he
after
was
what
not.
happened. He was like, I quit. I'm never playing guitar ever again. I don't ever want to do anything ever again live. He was like ready to like throw his guitar in the ocean.
Yeah. At
I
least it
feel
wasn't
like
hard. He was right there, you know.
I feel
Yeah.
like someone had to have gotten video of it.
There is
Somebody
video
probably
of
did,
it.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't watched it, so
Tony got video
oh,
of it.
Tony did. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think she said she like slowly but surely brought the phone down once she
That
realized
makes
what was
sense.
going on. Yeah. Uh, that's probably yeah. That was pretty bad.
Yeah. You live and you learn, right?
Yeah.
Anything else crazy happening? Or
Uh,
fun or just weird?
Fun. We haven't the unfortunate part is that we haven't really like gotten out there too much yet.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of stuff planned for this summer, which is really cool, but we like haven't really been able to like be like, oh, we went on a bunch of like weekenders or like we did a week
Yeah.
tour or whatever because we haven't really done it yet. So we're hoping that this new EP kind of like slingshots us into that realm of like, okay, now we have two EPs out. We've got because that's the other thing is like when you only have one EP out and it's only 6 songs, it's like that's what you're playing every
mhm.
night, like you don't really have much of a choice in anything that you're playing because you only have six songs. We always throw a cover in too. So like you're essentially playing the same 7 songs every night every time you play a gig. So now that we have like, 7 more songs, now you can kind of start like mixing things up and making fun transitions between songs and stuff like that. So I feel like it's more conducive to us playing more live shows too. So I'm hoping that that's the case. And
Yeah,
we'll
Yeah.
be able to make more cool, fun stories.
We'll
and
just have to
we're
touch base again with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get back to us like the end of the year and we'll
yeah.
have this really fun, cool stories to give you.
I was gonna say too, like we're pretty spread out, like, two of us are in the Philly, South Jersey area and Matt and Shane are in Asbury. So like in terms of how we're getting to the show, it's
Separate, yeah.
let alone 2 different trips. It's really 4 different trips depending on the show. So not a whole lot. I mean, if you guys want to get insight on like my Grateful Dead podcast, on my drive to the show, like by all means, I can get that going. But
I don't want
um,
to.
no,
So
no, no one would. I don't even want to hear that. But no, like I think with this year, with some of the runs that we have, I mean, we're all going to be packed in a van together, which is really where the best stories come out of for sure.
agreed.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're down to our last question, which is our arguably our most important one.
Uh-oh.
Right. Pressure. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh gosh. Favorite dinosaur. Yeah, you can't answer this one like poorly. I feel like you've gotta. The problem is that I don't know all the names of them appropriately. So,
If you describe it, Chris might know what you're
yes.
talking
Okay,
about.
so there's one that I became like really into because they put it in the Museum of Natural History in New York City, and it's like the biggest dinosaur that like ever walked the earth, and it's like it actually expands into like 3 rooms, like the skeleton of it. And I just thought that was so cool. It's just like massive. Like it's
Yeah.
this really long. It looks like a brontosaurus is the first thing that comes to my brain, but I know that's not
I know
it.
which one
But
it
it's like that
is.
kind of dinosaur, and it's like the skeleton that they have in the museum literally is mostly in this one room, but like its head goes into another room and its tail goes into another room because it's just like the most massive thing.
It starts with an S, doesn't it?
Mm,
I just like talked about this dinosaur the other day and I can't think of it. It's that one I tried to pronounce once and it was like
I'm gonna have to try and look this up too.
something
I can't find it.
cheesiosaur or something like that.
Cheesiest.
The cheesieosaur.
no.
You live in Wisconsin. You're coming up with these cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a Cheezosaurus Rex.
It's the Titanosaur.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, didn't they have the Titanosaur? Didn't they have that in the newest Jurassic Park?
Yeah, the Jurassic
Yeah, I
Park.
think it's
Yeah.
Jurassic World or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
that's cool. I like
it's a
that.
long neck and my favorite's a Brachiosaurus, so I'm all for it.
There you go. I don't. I wish I knew all the names of them, but I don't.
So I just watched the Netflix dinosaur series, which I I was really excited about. Like I'm not a big dinosaur guy or anything like that, but I was like, all right, let me throw this on, see what's going on. First episode, I was into it. And it's going to be the most cliche answer, but I think if you've watched the documentary, it's going to make total sense. Like I would definitely choose T-Rex as like the favorite, and it's because of the origin story, right? When they bring up like how small, like it was just this like almost like an insignificant bird, right? Like how small the T-Rex was, and then through millions of years of evolution, where it turned into, the gargantuan monster that a T-Rex is. But what was so cool was like the way they told the story between like the dinosaurs and the reptiles and who was like at the top of the food chain and whatnot, and the evolution of that through millions of years, which was super cool. But I think I didn't know like uh how small like the T-Rex was, and arguably probably other dinosaurs, but I think just that story got me. So I probably say T-Rex, but with that context involved.
What
Yeah.
I what I thought was interesting after watching that was that the fully grown T-Rex as we know it now, they kind of showed, hey, it kind of originated in a cold climate.
Yeah.
And that's why it had the feathers to keep it warm, is because they said, did they say North America? I forget where they,
I don't remember. I don't
I
remember.
don't
I
I
forget.
don't know because
Yeah.
I only got two
Yeah,
episodes done.
you
Oh
stopped an
man.
Well,
episode
now I have
before
to
the
watch
full-grown
it.
T-Rex was there.
Yeah, you can learn
Shane,
more about dinosaurs, Shane, if you watch the documentary.
Morgan
Well, I
Freeman
will.
is the
I
narrator.
Well,
know
I mean
that was
that
one
alone,
reason I
I
right?
had to
know.
That
watch it
Yeah.
alone.
because
Say less, right?
it either has to be Morgan Freeman or David Attenborough. Come on
Right.
Yeah,
now.
Yeah.
fabulous.
Well,
I
now
was just
that
trying to get my
other
daughter to watch one of the Planet Earth things the other day. She was not very interested in it.
oh,
Darn.
well, as soon as I finished the one, I think the Attenborough one came up like after that as like the recommended, which I never saw. So I'll definitely pop that on. But yeah, that documentary was fantastic. That was so well done.
What about you guys?
Mine's Brachiosaurus. I
Oh, yeah, you
mentioned
told me that.
mine.
Yeah, you said that.
And mine's the ankylosaur.
I have no idea what that is.
It's the armored shelled
Oh yeah, yeah, with the
dino, and
big
it's got the
like
club tail.
yeah,
Yep.
those are cool.
He likes his club tail.
I just
Yeah.
like I've said before, I just love the mental imagery of like a T-Rex going for it and it taking it out like right at the ankle.
Yeah, right. With the
Isn't that
spikes
the
too.
fight
Yeah,
that they showed in three? It was episode three, I think. That was like the fight that they showed,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah,
Oh no,
that
that
was
was a
really cool.
Stegosaurus. That was a
Oh,
Stegosaurus,
that
I
was the
think.
Stegosaurus. Okay,
Yeah.
but
Oh
even
man,
seeing
when
like
that
the club
Stegosaurus,
tail, that was awesome.
yeah, when the Stegosaurus impaled, was it a T-Rex?
I thought it was a
I
T-Rex.
was like, ooh, brutal.
Yeah.
I thought that was episode 2 because I remember a Stegosaurus whacking something and stabbing it.
Oh man. Now I gotta read back.
Now you're gonna have to watch it again.
Yeah, darn.
There might be stuff you missed. You never know.
There always is. I watch a lot of like Ken Burns documentaries, and I'll like rewatch them just to like get the information in mind. So it's definitely gonna happen with this one for sure.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there's another documentary, right? I don't know if 4 episodes is
Fingers crossed.
enough.
Never is. Never is.
I still have to ask Joe, our paleontologist, what he thought of it, if he watched it.
You have a
Uh,
paleontologist friend? Nice. That's cool.
we have two.
Two.
Since we've started
Crazy.
asking these questions, we were like, hey, we should get a paleontologist on that likes, like pop punk music, and we found one that calls himself the pop punk paleontologist, and then we found another whose specialty was like actually pre-dinosaurs, but he
Oh,
was
okay.
he was into like metal music. Um,
They were fun
That's
interviews.
cool though.
They were
The way
long
you said that
interviews.
was like with a little disdain of like he's into metal music.
no, it was like the way he described it. He was like metal music and paleontology just go hand in hand.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
he's
Yeah,
That
written
makes me
he's written
wanna.
a couple books, and they one book talks about all the metal artwork that usually has like fossils or dinosaurs and stuff involved in them,
That's true. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Mastodon, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
hmm So he has a whole book about that kind of stuff, which is
That's
pretty
cool.
cool.
it's badass.
So, but the dinosaur question was our final and most important question, and I think you both answered
I was
it
gonna say, did we
very
pass?
well. You
Okay, cool.
passed. You passed the test. You've passed the
Awesome.
test.
Awesome.
Nice.
But if there's anything you'd like to add on to the end of this conversation before we cut recording, do so now.
I mean, thank you first of all for having us. This is really fun. But yeah, I mean, keep your eyes open for, new singles to drop off of our new EP that's going to be out this summer. If you want to follow us on all our socials, we are Turn to Band on every social, TURNTWOBAND on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. But yeah, come say hi to us. We're friendly, and I like to spark conversation. So if you like the music and you want to make friends, give us a follow. But again, appreciate you guys for having us on. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank
we've had a
you so
blast
much.
chatting.